waliwo ekigenda mu maaso kyemubadde temufollowinga. Nagenze netunuulira omutwe ogugamba nti DPP, according to the Daily Monitor, Director of Public Prosecutions, withdraws charges against the Bank of Uganda staff accused of including unauthorized cargo on the plane. Abakulu bano emisango gy'abagiddwako gye babadde bavunaana egy'okuba nti bakwata cargo ne bamuteeka ku nnyonyi, cargo oyo nga takkiriziddwa. Ennyonyi yali eteereddwako ssente eza Uganda ze baali ba printingidde France. Kakati mmwe mulina okutegeera Museveni, njagala nnyo musome Museveni mumutegeere. Musome Museveni. Whatever move he makes, pay attention, read, understand, and ask why. You get it? In ekintu kyennyonyerezaako these days, I'm trying to look at the economy. Trying to look at, you know the saying that goes that always follow the money. It will lead you to wherever, if you want to understand the situation, just follow the money. Okay. Let me give you something, food for thought. Nti Museveni reaffirms as the bank governor again. Okay? Ngenze nentunulako ku board of directors ya BOU, Bank of Uganda, nga eri imbalanced in terms of regional balance of Uganda, the board of Bank of Uganda. Ngojja kulaba nti Museveni ne banne basingako obungi, which is not bad. Okay, it is bad, we know, but for me it was interesting as a person who was making a bit of research. Mugende ku website ebyo, mukebere buli departments, mulabe Ministry of Finance. Ojja kulaba okay, Muhakanizi, olabe Museveni, then there is another lady there, then there is another two ladies and one gentleman. Kugamba, there is some sort of imbalance there. Okay, let us break the financial system down. Before I go to the Kunsonge ya Director of Public Prosecutions, York releasing abana abasajja babiri okubajjako emisango. Now this is the thing. Who is in charge of drawing the budget of Uganda? I think that is the Ministry of Finance, right? Anyakulira Finance Ministry ya Uganda, Matia Kasaija, isn't it? Okay, oyo katumuteeka wali wabbali. Kakati Matia Kasaija yakola budget, meaning nti yakola embalirira ya Uganda, then n'agikwata n'agamba nti look here guys, tutandike okunyoonya gye tugenda okujja essente zino. Okitegeere? Inda katono waliwo gwe neerabidde wano erinnya njagala ddireeta. So Daudi Kasaija, simanyi Matia Kasaija, yakola embalirira ya Uganda. Okitegeere? Kati wamala ogikola n'agamba omukulu gwe bayita Commissioner General wa URA, omukulu John Musinguzi Rujoki, timunange budget yino ngikoze Commissioner, nyonye emisolo. Nti Commissioner n'asaggula emisolo Rujoki, olonno Kasaija yamuweereza. Rujoki n'asaggula emisolo. Omudidi olumala gonna n'aguleeta n'agusukuma mu Bank of Uganda, agukwasizaani tumusiime Museveni gwe bongedde ekisanja. Kati tumusiime Museveni n'akikwata n'akinyonyogera n'akwata n'ekyuma, n'anyola ekyuma n'aprinting omudidi. Kati wamala printing omudidi mukulu Museveni n'ayongeramu n'ezize n'eza muzeeyi. N'azikwata n'aziweereza Kasaija. Now Because that is where our financial system literally is. That is where our financial system moves. Shira. Kakati wabaawo obuzibuzi bwawo wonna wonna. Kuba n'ebyenguzi nabyo byanfuna. Ti ebyenguzi waliwo ayalidde enguzi here and there. Should take our State House Anti-Corruption Coalition, whatever. Ani agikulira mukulu Edith Nakalema. Gw'owulira Nakalema. Genda omugaye nti Nakalema tusanyusa okulaba maama nyoge. Nakalema? Kati onaye Nakalema wali abeerawo okuba namba 5 kuzibikira ekijja kyonna okunyonyereza kwonna okuba kuzaawo wakati kati awo. Nakalema has to be able to contain it. Has to be able to kuchiyolawo. Kitegeera. Alina okuba nga liredo kiyolawo n'akihandolinga n'akikwata. Preventing abano bonna bonna abayinza okujja okunyonyereza. Kyekiyita fixer. So Nakalema is the fixer for the government. Kwa ekitongole kyakulira kya kunyonyereza ku buli bwanguzi kubba ssente za muwi wa musolo and so on and so forth. So that is the reason for why Nakalema is there. Now those three gentlemen, ojja kutunulira n'oli omukulu permanent secretary Keith Muhakanizi, be bali mu Bank of Uganda, be planningira Uganda, these people. Okiraba Kasayija, Museveni, Muhakanizi, Mutebire, Rujoki, whatever that gentleman, Rujoki, wa URA, be bali mu bintu ebyo. Because emisolo gyonna gyonna giyitira mu URA. Emisolo gyonna gye bakunga gwe weebuuze, why is it that a district, for example, like a district nga Gulu, Shegera, erina budget yayo, ekola budget yayo, ekola planning yayo, lwaki Gulu district wemala okunganya emisolo mu district yayo, ate esooka gisindika mu URA, then URA energy processing, then ne balyoka bazikwata ate ne baziyisa through the government, then ate government neryoka ezikwata n'ezizaayo n'eziweereza eggulu. Lwaki? I mean, maybe simanyi economics, but it doesn't really make sense. The reason as to why twagenda mu decentralization, okola decentralization, nti buli kitundu kibeere ne administrative units zaazo, they collect their own taxes, they run their own governments, right, they run their own administrative units in one way or the other, or making sure there is a smooth running of these areas. But the reason that's why they are not functioning is because of this process. A process that is meant to okubba ssente, literally, that is it. Now, when I have a story, nenzirayo. Because these people nabo batuuka ekiseera ne babanga bali stuck. How are they stuck? Nti expenditure egenda neyitirira nga ssente tebakyalina yadde n'ekikumi. So what do? You remember watching that movie, a film ya Idi Amin, The Rise and Fall, where Amin said, nga bamugamba nti Amin, we no longer have money in the banks. You know what Amin told them? Amin said, well, print more money. Nti Amin ye mundowooza yabagamba wezibanga sente mu banka ziweddeyo, of which this was all propaganda, tukimanyi bulungi. Kakati Amin yabagamba nti do what? Print more money. Kati nengamba okay bambi Amin alabika yali mufu nnyo. Lwaki Amin yagamba abantu nti print more money? Naye almost 40 years later, we are seeing the same thing that is being done clandestinely, where the government is actually printing more money than the money. Because the role of the bank governor, you regulating money in circulation and controlling inflation and things of that sort, literally controlling the economy. Because sente zaffe eza Uganda, tebazikubira Uganda, sente bazikubira France. I think in Bungereza. That's where they print the money from. Kati watuuka ekiseera nga Museveni talina ssente. What he has to do is, number one, he can either print more money, of which that risks the economy of the country in terms of inflation. N'ekyo n'akimira n'agamba waayi sina kyakukola, oba si kyo you borrow more money. Because kankubulire running this operation yonna patronage network ababaka bina kyenda mu mwenda 650 billion Ugandan shillings per year nga ze running just one institution, the parliament. It's not an easy task. Okubanga oyina n'abayiroddiyo abawera emitwalo 10, oyina amaje, oyina police, you have all these people to pay. Do you know where do they get all this money? They print more money. Now, katugende mu story no katono njagala gibayitiramu. Story egamba the director of public prosecutions has withdrawn charges against 3 Bank of Uganda officials who have been facing trial for having allowed unauthorized cargo onto a chartered plane about 2 years ago. The officials have been facing charges of corruption and the abuse of office before the Anti-Corruption Court, Grade 1 Magistrate Abat Asimwe. They are accused Francis Kaketo, the Assistant Currency Director of Bank of Uganda, Mbale Branch, and Fred Vito Wanyama, the Verification Officer and the Currency Director, Mr. Charles Malinga Akol. The trio have been in court for having reportedly allowed the inclusion of unauthorized cargo on a plane chartered by Bank of Uganda on its way between France, Belgium, and Entebbe International Airport on 26th of April 2019. The prosecution accused them for having done actions prejudicial to their employer by having corruptly neglected to perform their duties by failing to refute or report the inclusion of the said unauthorized cargo on the plane chartered by the Bank of Uganda. What are these people being charged for? The prosecution accused them of having done actions prejudicial to their employer by having corruptly neglected to perform their duties by failing to refute or report the inclusion of the said unauthorized cargo on a plane fully chartered by the Bank of Uganda. Now, this is what happened in this whole saga. About 2 years ago, the Bank of Uganda ordered today, but let me give you a brief. This is what happened. Bank ya Uganda yateekayo request ng'esaba ssente, printinga ssente eziwerera ddala miliyoni 7 mu bupapula obw'5,000. Oba kitegeerekeka nti they ordered new bills of 5,000. They ordered new bills of 5,000 amounting to 70 million Ugandan shillings, right? Nti ba orderinga miliyoni obupapula bw'5,000 naye ng'obupapula obwo bwali bwo amountinga to 70 million Ugandan shillings. Kati sente ezo zajjira ku nnyonyi ya cargo. Enyonyi oba bagiyita kanu oba kaki biri mu Lujamani ngenda basomera mbabulire why it is important. Kati sente ezo bazipaakinga on 20 pallets. Ne bakwata emu ku nnyonyi za cargo ne baziteekako sente ezo ne bazireeta ne zituuke ku kisaawe Entebbe ne bazitwala mu Bank of Uganda. Era nga Bank of Uganda bwekola omulimu gwayo processing a center into the economy, release some, take out some here and there, regulation and all this kind of thing. Now, yeah, the problem is, what they are talking about here is, nti unauthorized kagendala, chigambibwa waliwo pallets endala 5 eza sente ezajjirako. That is the unauthorized cargo. Pallets endala 5 ezo zali amounting to 90 billion Ugandan shillings. Zino pallets 2 ez'enkumi zali 70 million shillings. Pallets ziri endala 5 zali amounting to over, I think, 24. Was it the other pallets that amounted to to over 24 billion shillings. I mean, 90 billion shillings, something of that sort. Now, that is really interesting. So, these people were being told until they neglected basumagira ku mulimu gwabwe. Basumagira ku mulimu gwabwe. So, they decided to charge them for kusumagira obutamonitaringa. But the truth of the matter is, these guys were actually covering up for someone big. So 2 years later, they have now been acquitted. Now, the question is this. Who ordered the printing of the other extra 5 pallets of money? Ani ordering a printing of the other extra 5 pallets? Let us go back to the article in the Independent, Diawandika, about the issue. Just 1 minute, guys. Nalaba abakulu nga bakonfaminga Museveni nengamba abantu nga twerabira mangu. Now, muwulirize very carefully. Kati tuzeeyo mabega 2 years ago about where all this started and why it is very important where we are going and why it's very important to the economy of Uganda today. This is what it says. A chartered plane, according to the Independent, a plane chartered to transport new currency notes to Uganda from France had on the 27th landed at Entebbe Airport with cargo not tallying with the expected central bank order. Museveni was in a meeting in his office on the 3rd of May, the year was 2019. On the 3rd of May, when this article was written, Museveni was in a meeting in his office on the 3rd of May, but details remain scanty as officials at the Bank of Uganda are tight-lipped given the sensitivity of the matter. Museveni immediately decided to act. Sources say Edith Nakalema, the head of the State House Anti-Corruption Unit, SCU, sources say Edith Nakalema, the SCU chairman, blah, 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 blah. He wanted her team to investigate the events on the 27th of April. Museveni followed up later on flip. Museveni, when this happened, a chartered plane, the problem with Uganda's journalists, okay, it starts. A chartered plane. Okay, the author starts like this. This is a serious issue, muttered Bank of Uganda governor to Museveni when he heard about it. A chartered plane to transport new currency notes to Uganda from France had on the 27th of April landed at Entebbe Airport with cargo not tallying with the expected central bank order. Museveni was in a meeting in his office on the 3rd of May, but details remain scanty as officials at Bank of Uganda are tight-lipped given the sensitivity of the matter. Museveni immediately decided to act. Sources say he called Edith Nakalema, the head of State House Anti-Corruption Unit. He wanted her to investigate the events on the 27th of April. Museveni followed up later with a letter on the 8th of May. The governor wanted to be sure what was contained in the boxes, and what was contained in the boxes was not currency and other circumstances under which it had ended up on a plane that was chartered to carry only Bank of Uganda cargo. Now, in return, Nakalema informed President Museveni, who gave her a green light to get to the bottom of the issue. I don't want to hear anything in the media, the president said. A lot was at stake as the saga involved Bank of Uganda. Hundreds of billions of shillings and two of the world's biggest companies in the printing business of security and currency printing and logistics. Now, because money wears out and the economy grows, Bank of Uganda regularly orders fresh banknotes from various suppliers. Some of these include De La Rue, which is based in the United Kingdom, Geiskirch and Devrient, based in Leipzig, Germany, Obertha Fiducia in France. The trio is amongst the best in small and highly sensitive industry of security and currency printing. Now, sometime last year, Bank of Uganda requested Obertha Fiducia, which prints only 2 of Uganda's banknotes, to print an undisclosed amount of banknotes. As part of a long-running contract with Bank of Uganda, Obertha was to deliver these at Entebbe Airport on the 27th of April, that is in 2019. Now, Bank of Uganda sent a team. Now, you listen carefully here. Bank of Uganda sent a team. Bank of Uganda sent a team, as normally happens, to witness the loading of the cash in France. So Bank of Uganda sends a team of people to witness okulaba engeri gye bakwata sente zino ne baziloadinga ku nnyonyi ng'era Katumba Wamala we yagenda okukima zibombadi ye France. So the team was comprised of the head of currency, Mbale, that is Bank of Uganda Mbale, and the head of currency, Kabale, Bank of Uganda branches. They arrived before the cargo and both headed to their workstations. Now these are the 2 gentlemen DPP bajeko musango 2 days ago. These 2 gentlemen DPP bajeko musango, the ones who went to observe the loading of the money. So they were sent to France to observe. Now listen carefully. Previously, the Independent understands that this team used to travel on the same plane as the cash. However, the central bank changed the policy. The Bank of Uganda staff that inspects the cash travels on passenger planes, previously, the Independent understands that this team used to travel on the same plane as the cash. However, the central bank changed the policy. Bank of Uganda staff that inspects the cash travels on passenger planes. The cash travels on a cargo plane. So what they are trying to mean here is inti abakulu bano bali bayina kutambulira ku nnyonyi yemu ne ssente ezo kwe zajjira. Kati tetunda bana kutuka ku amount, how much money are we talking about here? Because that is what is most important. And who made the order? Ani ya orderinga ssente zino kubibwa. Now, okutebwa kwa bakulu bano is a very, very important thing. Very important. So, the first flag was nti always abakulu bano balinga batambulira ku nnyonyi yemu eya cargo ne ssente za Uganda kwe zajjiranga. But Koro tebakozesa nnyonyi yemu. Eya cargo yajja yokka nabo ne bakozesa ya passenger. Bank of Uganda yali ekyusizaamu ku policy. The article goes on. As part of its long-running contract with Obertha, the printing company, to print and deliver cash, Bank of Uganda BOU locked in the world's best logistics company, Kunihe plus Nago. Founded in 1890, Kunihe and Nago has some 1,300 offices all over 100 countries, with around 82,000 employees, according to its website. Now, Obertha company ye France yekuba ssente zaffe, yekuba notes ez'Enkumi-5. Kati Obertha baji orderinga ne bajiwa order ne bagigamba tukubire notes z'Enkumi-5, noti za millioni 7. Kati Obertha buli wemala okuba notes ezo eziwa cargo company gye bayita Kunihe plus Nego yabagundi yaba German yevuga ssente ezo nezireeta ku kisaawe Entebbe ne bazihandinga over to the Bank of Uganda. Ngaira olawe bakuba obululu. Kati jukira okuba ssente, these are security matters, these are national currencies. Zino okubeera very secured because okuba ssente zino it stands on a lot of reputation n'okuzi transporting. Reputation of the company that prints the money and reputation of the cargo company transporting a ssente zino. Because anything they do, it can spoil the business of the company and the economy of a country. So, now this is what happened. So when the cargo company of Kiniho and Nego landed Hold on. So when the cargo company, sorry, when the cargo plane landed at Entebbe on April the 27th, 2019, many expected all to be well. It was supposed to be carrying only exactly 20 pallets of freshly printed cash from Obatha, Fudikere, a printing company. These contained the cash Bank of Uganda had ordered and expected to be invoiced for. Now, however, problems started emerging when Bank of Uganda team, led by a 1 Militon Baruku, which came to the airport to receive the cash, discovered that there were 5 extra boxes also, which looked similar as the 20 they were supposed to receive. They signed for only 20 pallets and said that is all they expected. But it appears once they returned to the central bank, no one mentioned a thing, because it was not until May the 3rd that the governor got to know. Now, ekisasa kye kino, abakulu batuuka ku kisaawe Entebbe, kampani y'Abajamani gye bayita Kenihu and Nego emaze okuleeta omudidi pallets 20 ez'obwenkumi 5 obuwabiririrwamu emitwalo 7. Kati batuuka ku kisaawe Entebbe, omukulu amanyikiddwa nga Militon Baruku, who was supposed to receive the consignment, atuuka wali ku kisaawe alaba pallets 2 azifunye, naye ate alaba waliwo pallets endala 5 ezisigaddewo ezifaanana nga zino pallets 2 zatutte zazze okukima. Yeewuunya n'agamba yiyi, what is happening here? N'agamba naye nze twa orderings 2, let me sign for the 20. Baruku n'akwata pallets 2 n'azisayininga n'agenda nazo n'azitwala. That's what happened. Ziri 5 ne zibeera awo bazasigala ku kisaawe wakiki tetumanyi. But now this is what happened. But it appears that once they returned to the central bank, no one mentioned. We baddayo ku Bank of Uganda, tewali n'omu yayogera ku nsonga eno. Now, Mary Katalikawe, the executive director operations at Bank of Uganda, while appearing on the premium talk show Spectrum on June the 17th of 2019, said the acting director currency discovered the anomaly, and there were internal preliminary investigations before the Bank of Uganda management asked Nakalima to come in. By now, a week had elapsed and stakes were high. Question: could the other 5 boxes have contained extra cash? If they did, who ordered that extra cash? Where was it? Well, these were some of the big questions. A memo sent by the Independent about the matter detailed what exactly Bank of Uganda had ordered for. The Independent has withheld these details because it could ascertain their veracity and also because of the sensitivity of the matter. Besides, a senior official at Bank of Uganda who only accepted to comment on conditions of anonymity said from preliminary findings of their investigations the issue boils down to neglect of responsibility by the courier and the Bank of Uganda staff, who failed to report the anomaly when they discovered it in France and later at Entebbe, hence arresting these 2 gentlemen that were released by the DPP. So now, one of the BOU staff crafts a story nti bali abagenda okulaba ssente zino oziwitine ensinge France bebata reporting, so they are the ones to blame. So they are the ones that have to be arrested. Now these two separate teams, the one that went to France and the one that went to Entebbe, how could they both make the same mistake of not realizing there is extra money that has been printed? Well, a desire to answer these questions seems to have resulted into the arrest of 8 Bank of Uganda officials from the central bank premises on June the 12th, a day before reading of the national budget. Until this point, both Bank of Uganda and Nakalima had managed to keep the investigation under wraps for a cool 1.5 months. Now, away from the Bank of Uganda team, the other question was, how could the internal companies stake their reputations over a few $1 million? 2 figures have been reported in press reports as likely extra cash was printed. 90 billion Ugandan shillings, that is $24 million, and 200 billion Ugandan shillings, roughly $54 million. So the extra 5 pallets, zalimu billioni 2 eza Uganda, zalimu wakati we billion chenda, $90 million, that is 24, sorry, billion chenda, that is $24 million, ne billion bibiri, that is $54 million. Now, for those of you who followed the story, you might realize afterwards, Edith Nakalema, yagenda, n'ekitongole kye anti-corruption unit, and they seized this consignment from Bank of Uganda. Basalako Bank of Uganda, ne bajja, sente ne bazijjayo, ne bazitwala. Until today, we don't know where the money is. Now, what happened was, these two gentlemen, sorry, they were arrested, they were basiba for all this time. Now, after 2 years, buli kimu nga kiwedde, omunyago nga bagumaze, kati basazeewo kubanga abakulu bano babata. Now, the questions eziringalinga zibuuza, who ordered the money? Ekizibiti kyalagawa. And who should be blamed? Well, the bank governor, this is an issue for concern. He should have resigned. Era n'aba muconfirming mu kakiiko ka parliament tebandi muconfirming until this matter is resolved. Well, they just confirmed him as the new bank governor. I laughed when I saw Mukulu Lutamaguzi nga agamba nti omusajja newankubadde alabika nga munafunafu naye obwongo busaza kyenda. T.E. Rollins yagamba, never, there is honor amongst thieves, but there is no honor amongst politicians. I don't know. I might be wrong. Nyinza okuba nga nze sitegeera bintu naye $200 billion extra was printed. Nezigenda straight to the State House to prepare for the election, to buy people, to hire goons. $200 billion extra. Zakubibwa sente ezo. Bakulu ne bazikozesa mu kalulu, ne bazikozesa okugula abantu ba people power, ne bazikozesa ebirala byonna zisona sente ze mwala bazitambula zeezo ezaalinga ziva mu State House. Billion 2. Kati kitegeeza nti State House buli kaseera erina sente zaayo. State House erina sente ze yeekubira ezaayo. Ne Bank of Uganda naye erina sente zaayo zeekuba. Two things. The State House erina its own Bank of Uganda, Bank of Museveni. Eyo yo ekuba zaayo, balina their own financial system running ekuba sente zaabwe kubwabwe. Kati ne tubaawo n'eno financial system eya Uganda gye muyita eya Mutebira asaza kimu newankubadde mugonvugonvu nga Lutamaguzi bw'agamba nti Mutebira asaza kimu. Kakati mu positions zino zonna nzirayo gye nabatandikidde mu financial system olina okuba n'abantu abatayogera nnyo abalina entegeera ng'eyiyo enkolagana ng'eyiyo tiwali Kasayija akikwatemu akibajetingire wano omukulu Sam Rujochi akinyonyogere asagule emisolo z'abasagudde asindike mu Bank of Uganda. Wasindika mu Bank of Uganda olw'okuba State House terina mandate orderinga sente zikubibwa. Tesobola ku orderinga ati no mutukubire sente bwezi. Museveni tasobola kuba simu nti mukubira sente bwezi ne bwezi. Maybe asobola okikola. Naye nyonyogera muganda we gwe bayita Tumusiime Mutebire. Mutebire n'anyonyogera bano Abafaransa abakuba sente zaffe n'Abangereza company. Ne baleeta consignment. Kati kwe luno ennaku z'omu bizibaana they messed up. Cheka waliwo gwe bataategeeza ku bintu bino nga ekibalo takimanyi. Kati bw'ataakimanya ensi yonna neemanya. The reputation of Bank of Uganda ne tulaba the very first raid of the anti-corruption unit eya State House ng'ejja okukima omunyago gwabwe gwe baakubye billion 2 nga bazikimye ku gundi ku Bank of Uganda. Kati oyo Nakalema ye fixa gwe nabagambye. Nakalema is the fixer. So Nakalema fixed the entire situation. They do not call tebaita anti-corruption gundi tebaita gundi oyo gobaitani igig's office nedda emisango gya corruption gyonna gina kuyita mu igigi kitegeeza mutu musibe mutebire Edith Nakalema and all these people were in cahoots. They know. Why would Mutebile call anti-corruption unit in State House? Russia Mutebile teyakubira igig's office. Because he needed the matter to be fixed. The matter already is out of the press. Katinga baino kufuna cover story. Now, the fact that abakulu bano babatadde, these bakulu should be careful. And they should keep their mouths shut. That's what it means. We give you your freedom back, sirika. Naye ffe kitegeeza ki ffe abali mu struggle. Ffe abali mu struggle, what it means is that we are fighting a very rotten system. Nti buli kimu kifu. Bank of Uganda nfu. Parliament in full, do not even start. Don't andika ku nsonga eyo. The parliament is bad. It is parliament in full, judicial in full, executive in full, everywhere. Buli kimu kifu. Sajja kati zizo sente bazekubira. You had the recent gundi we bagamba nti bagenda kulekerawo okubira sente zino e Bulaaya, batandike zikubiranga Kampala. Last year bagamba nti bagenda kuleeta ekyuma ekikuba ssente mu Uganda. Noza buli omu ku luno ajja kufuna yakakadde. Abantu bagenda gaggawala. Buli omu agenda zikubira. Do you know the reason as to why these governments, third world governments, they don't print their own money? You cannot trust them. These people are very greedy. Kimu bibiri bajja kutandika Museveni ajja kusula nga wali ku kyuma kya ssente. Nabo benyini tebeesiga. Kati woogeza n'ogamba nti no ssente batandika ozikubira e Uganda. My friend, muba muwedde. That's it. Anyway, that's the issue of Bank of Uganda. N'abo abakulu DPP be yaggyeko emisango. Kati literally no one is charged for that matter. Naye gwe osigala nga weebuuza, who ordered this money? Ani yakuba ssente zino? Who ordered the printing of this money? It must have been the bank governor. It must have been the person who orders the printing of money mu Uganda. And who is that person? It is the Bank of Uganda. It is the governor. Yateekako omukono. Money cannot be printed. Toyinza kulaba nti oba printing ze billion bibiri nga governor tamanyi. So if it means that wezibanga bazi printing the million bibiri ne bazi authorizing and the governor was sleeping on the job, so the governor should have resigned already. The governor should have resigned, but he's still there. Bagambye asaza kimu. Newankubadde mu kosefu asaza kimu. Nze singa kyakisoboka ne parliament eyo kambabuulire tetwandigenzeeyo twandibiresse. Ne mumanya nti mulwanyisa kakati, it is literally nti kakati Museveni is Museveni, no opposition is opposition. Mumulekere parliament ye, fe tusigale wabweru eno nga tulwana. Because whenever you involve yourself in these processes, it gives him some sort of legitimacy.